Alright, today's video is a little different and a little bit similar to the last video. We're looking at my collection of video game stuff, but today we're talking about vinyl. Video game soundtrack vinyl of varying styles, genres, eras, and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to be looking at what I've got here and giving you some audio samples of each one and my thoughts and impressions of each album as we'll go through alphabetically. Alright, first up we've got Mega Man 2, an absolutely classic chiptune soundtrack from the NES. But you'll see here on the cover of this album it says Bit Brigade presents Mega Man 2. Bit Brigade is an incredible cover album or cover band of typically classic NES music. And they're a 4-piece band, 2 guitars, bass guitar, and drums. And that basically covers the sound channels you had on the NES. So they are doing covers of all this wild, intricate stuff that was, programmed on the NES. But they're playing it live. And they do play live. They've been around for over a decade. And yeah, they just rip this stuff. It's just awesome. Definitely check these guys out if you can. And here's a few samples from this album. Continuing in alphabetical order is Celeste. And Celeste is one of my absolute favorite games of all time. I speedran it for a time. It's got an amazing soundtrack by Lena Raine. This album is a gatefold, double vinyl. This is the original game's soundtrack. And you got Theo and Madeline there. At the fire, you got the bird. Really great soundtrack, just so many different textures and, emotions and feelings being conveyed. It's an amazing piece of work. And, obviously check out Celeste if you haven't, and enjoy this soundtrack. Alright, looks like I'm coming through on this cover because it's a little bit reflective, but this is the Celeste B-Sides tracks from the game that are remixed tracks of Lena's original compositions. Let's see if we can get this on here. So there's different artists that cover and have remixed different tracks from the album. And there's so many great tracks here too, but these are not by Lena Raine, these are by all separate artists. And this actually comes with, yes. So this is vinyl, not vinyl. This is playable on a record player. This is a card. But this is the Celeste Classic, the original Celeste written and developed for Pico 8. Yeah, this actually plays on a record player. So we'll get a sample of this as well. This is really cool that they included this. I've never seen anything like this. So, but yeah, the B-sides are great too. Love this album. And here's a sample. Alright, rounding out the Celeste triptych, they released the soundtrack to Farewell, which is the last chapter of the game, separately, because it's almost as big as the entire main game. And this is not a gatefold, but it's a separate album, and so many great tracks on this album too, just in this one chapter. It's like, a dozen tracks here. I loved playing this and speedrunning this chapter, and this music really kept me going through all of it. It's amazing, and here's a sample of this. And here we have Cuphead. Cuphead is such a widely known name now. It was a Netflix show, but the game obviously came out a while back, and they issued the soundtrack on vinyl. This is a four album, like LP vinyl set. And the music, if you haven't heard, which you'll hear in a second, is a classic, jazz soundtrack fitting of that era of cartoons. They published this and packaged it just like they did for releases of the time. It's meant to emulate releases of that period from the 30s and 40s. So you've got a gatefold, but it's a multi-gatefold. You've got, the listing of the band here, and then each one of these pages is one of the pieces of vinyl. I've got all four here. The set went out of print pretty rapidly and has not been issued since. I'm very lucky to have it, very glad to have it. Yeah, just looks period, right? Like just the kind of sepia tone print on this. Just classy packaging. Definitely very proud to own this piece of vinyl and this whole package, because this is a very unique set. So let's take a listen. And here we have the Cuphead Delicious Last Course soundtrack. This came a few years after the main game, and they composed a whole new set of tunes for this content. This is also a gatefold album. Looks similar to the kind of treatment the other Cuphead album had, just in a monochromatic kind of way. Lots of funny advertisements strewn in here. Yeah, so this is a very cool set, double album, and this came with some goodies. Came with a few of these recipe cards. So you've got a few different recipes you can make here for, I'm assuming, some tarts and other things. And then this, which I believe is just a big poster for this content. Huge poster. Yeah, this is great. I mean, you used to get posters in vinyl, and very cool rendition of the characters from this delicious last course.
It's a delicious last course. Oh, the delicious last course. One can eat and fill till stay until the delicious last course. It's a delicious last course. Oh, that delicious last course. It's on cake and pie, and rose, oh my, for that delicious last course. Oh, Miss Charlotte just wants to be just as real as real can be. With a London tart, chicken and take heart is all through the bakery. Chef the baker has a plan, the best tart maker in the land. If they're expedient, the ingredients, and he might just flip a hand. With that delicious last course, oh that delicious last course. If there's a single meal to help make balance real, it's a delicious last course. Oh, the delicious last course. Oh, the delicious last course. Since you got a pot, make the water hot for the delicious last course. The recipes to get necessities for the delicious last course. Every regular song will tell you.
All right, we have the Deltarune Chapter 1 soundtrack by Toby Fox. As always, anything Toby Fox does is incredible, and just his composition skills are out of this world. And the art that the team makes, and all of this combines with the music to make a great game. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this game whenever it appears. Chapter 2 is out right now. But this is not a gatefold, it's just I'm keeping it in the plastic, but this is a single album of lots of great tunes, and we'll get to Toby Fox's other work in a little bit. But yeah, here's a sample of Deltarune. Dustforce. Now, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with this game. I am barely familiar with it. I think I own it, and I've played maybe a little bit of it. Maybe got it for some part of a Humble Bundle or something a long time ago. What stuck with me about this game, though, is the soundtrack, and clearly I have it on vinyl here. The soundtrack is composed by artist called Lifeformed. I think he's based in Taiwan. And yeah, Terrence Lee is the man himself. So this, I don't know, the soundtrack and the soundscapes that he creates really stuck with me. Just the textures he uses. This is all electronic music. I've listened to this album. This is kind of I like this album in the fall. It's really nice, like kind of chill tunes. A little bit melancholy, a little bit like, I don't know, somber, but there's some upbeat stuff on here too. Take a listen to this. This is Fastfall, Dustforce OST by Lifeformed. Jim Guthrie's Sword and Sworcery LP. That is the name of the game. The name of the album, I believe, is The Ballad of the Space Babies. This game, again, is a little bit older, maybe 10 plus years ago, came out around when Twitter was the big hot new thing. Had Twitter integration. This is just a single album. It's got some really interesting and nice tunes on it. It's pairs really well with the game, and it's got a very unique kind of art style. I don't know. This game also had just a soundtrack that stuck with me. The game was fine. I don't know. Nothing to write home about in terms of like the gameplay. It was interesting, like in terms of the way it was presented. Like I said about the Twitter integration at the time was interesting. I don't know, it all came together in a nice package, and the music definitely was the highlight for me. And again, the game is called Sword and Sworcery LP. It's the music is the focus. It really creates a soundscape and like a feeling of, where are you in this world? What are these characters? Who are you? What are you doing? It's it's a really interesting idea, and here's a sample from the album. A game with a criminally unavailable soundtrack, at least officially from the publishers. I don't know how all the rights are shake out with this game, but Katamari Damacy has one of the greatest soundtracks I think I've ever heard in a game. It's got so full of life. Every track just has that energy. So much passion was put into every single tune. And this is a double album gatefold of the soundtrack for this game. What a spread there with the king and the prince there. Awesome. And yeah, this is, yes, like I said, still one of the only official ways to listen to this soundtrack. Like, I'm glad I purchased it when I did. I don't think it's available really on any digital platforms, but we've got a lot of great classic tunes on here, and it's just, I'm glad I have a way that I can officially listen to this instead of having to find some torrent of it. So here's a sample of this absolutely iconic soundtrack. Yes, the old Gods of Asgard. This is a greatest hits compilation of their most famous tunes. And this band is a fictional band, I should say. Old Gods of Asgard is a band that appears in the Alan Wake and Control games by Remedy Entertainment. And the actual band behind this music, I don't know if they're gonna, oh, well, here they are. Here's some of them. Is actually Poets of the Fall. And they're a band that's been around for a long time, but they were recruited by Remedy to become this band, Old Gods of Asgard. And so this is a compilation of the, and here you got the lyrics on the gatefold, very nice. This is a compilation of tunes from those games, Alan Wake, Control, and Alan Wake 2. And it is pretty close to what you call metal. I mean, it's hardcore, for sure. And I feel like it fits the game and the tone really well. It's really cool how they integrate the band into the games in different ways. There was one scene in Alan Wake where you're like on the stage, they're playing a show or like they're performing, not for anyone, but they're just on a stage playing, and that's where one of the like action scenes happens, and they're like characters in the game, like, and they're related to other characters in the game. They're important characters. So yeah, this is really cool how they integrated stuff, and the music is just really, really kicking. So here's a sample from Old Gods of Asgard.
I name the stars of
of Stars. Wow, what a game. I will never forget playing this game. It's such a unique and classic kind of take on a JRPG from the 90s, but it's just done so well. Everything kind of works together, and this is the soundtrack, the gatefold here. Wow, with Moon Cradle and all the various characters you're going to encounter in the game. Light possible spoilers a little bit, I guess, but just so much variety of of characters and music. And so this is a soundtrack by Eric W. Brown and guest composer Yosunori Mitsuda, who was the composer for Chrono Trigger. This game is widely inspired by Chrono Trigger in terms of the look, the feel, the way the combat works, the way just there's all kinds of nods to that, and they brought in the original composer for that game to do some tunes here and there. So this is a double album of it's a sampling because there's probably over 300 tracks in this game. There's so many. And there's even like you have like a pirate crew that you join up with, and there's pirate renditions of a lot of these tunes. So there's like even more alternates than even are in the main game, the main soundtrack. So this game really sticks with you. Great characters, great. The soundtrack really highlights and articulates those moments and like the feelings of wherever you happen to be at the time, whether you're in at this tavern with a pirate crew and you got one of those pirate tunes going, or it's one of the more somber or upbeat moments. It's really captures that energy, and definitely don't miss this game. And here's a sample of the soundtrack for Sea of Stars. Oh yeah, baby. Sonic Adventure. I admittedly have never played this game straight through to completion, but man, does the soundtrack really have a legacy of its own. These tracks all kind of have lived on in the course of the 20 plus years that this game has been out. And there's chaos, perfect chaos, sorry. Apologies. And the theme to Sonic Adventure, Open Your Heart. I mean, there's not much you can say here except that there are so many just classic tracks that have come from this album and this soundtrack that and we got to see, my wife and I went to see the Sonic Symphony earlier this year, and that was amazing. Heard a few of these tunes at that event. How many times have you heard It Doesn't Matter, or Welcome to Station Square, or Believe in Myself, or My Sweet Passion, or The Unknown from Me? So many different tracks that will live on forever. So here's a quick sample from Sonic Adventure.
Tougher than leather, you can call me Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my muscles, my hard as nails. It ain't hard to tell, I break them down whether they solid or frail. Unlike the rest, I'm independent since my first breath. First test, feel the right, then the worst left. Born on an island in the heavens. Blood of my ancestors flows inside me. My duty is to save the flowers. Your heart free true. Cleanse yourself with them evil spirits that's in you. Streaking lights, loud sounds, and instincts are the elements that keep me going. I am fighting.
Nearly to the end here, we've got Undertale, of course, by Toby Fox. And I've got actually both the Japanese version of the soundtrack and the US release. The art is slightly different. But these are, let's see. Yeah, these are gatefold. So here's the US one. You got kind of like the Sea of Stars one. You got the scene here at Toriel's house. And you got all the characters that you run into in the game. Well, we'll say most of them. And so, yeah, it's a double album of you've likely heard something from the soundtrack already, but we'll give you a sample in a second. So that's the US release. The Japanese, let's see. Inside, oh yeah, very different portrayal. Very nice art. Flowey and whatever your character's name is. And then the backside here is, and I believe these are saying you can play this vinyl on any number of vinyl playing devices. There's so many of them out there. And you got your portable Walkman type vinyl, so you can play it on that. We have one of these travel cases. I don't know anyone who has one of these, but they exist. Yeah, so just an absolutely classic soundtrack that will never die. It's great, and probably the most, well, it's the thing that I probably consume the most from Undertale. I haven't played Undertale in a while, but just the music is just so great, and Toby really knows what he's doing. So here's a sample of Undertale. Okay, and last but not least is this 7-inch vinyl of the Japanese release of this single for the Super Mario Brothers on the family computer original theme and a remix of it. Now, it comes with, let's see, comes with the vinyl, comes with this. These are not stickers, but it's just art. Yeah, it was made in Germany, pressed, I'm assuming, made in Germany. So, the interesting thing here is that, like, the first side is just what you'd expect. Oh, let's look at this book, I guess. So, this opens up, got some screenshots from the game that most people have some familiarity with. And then you got this poster. Just the same art, but bigger. Look at how happy these toads are. They're real happy. So side 1 is the original version, and side 2 is the orchestral version. I'll let you listen to it and let me know what you think about the orchestral version. So that's all the vinyl soundtracks I own currently. I have one on the way. It's also by Terrence Lee, Lifeformed, from his soundtrack to the game Tunic. I cannot wait to see what this is because it's a box set of some sort, vinyl, like 4 LP, I think, box set. Tunic is a really cool game and has a lot of mystery and secrets about it, and the packaging that they've developed for the vinyl box set is... I just have to see it in person because it sounds ridiculous, and it wasn't cheap, and it also took forever for them to produce. So I will update this and make another video maybe about that because it might take a whole video to cover it. All right, that's it. That's all the soundtracks, all the vinyl that I've got. And thanks for watching. Thanks for enjoying these tunes with me. And let me know what your favorite soundtrack to a video game is in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Here's a little bonus content. The soundtracks that I actually own on CD disc. I have a few video game soundtracks that are on vinyl, but also on CD. And these are a few that I couldn't or didn't really care to get on vinyl necessarily. But first one, Mother 1 and 2. So this is about the release for the Game Boy Advance of Mother and Mother 2. And yeah, this has a few tracks from the original game and Mother 2. This was a Japanese release CD, but yeah, this is very cool to have. I love Earthbound, which is Mother 2. We've got a soundtrack that I had not heard or seen much of until I played the remake of Live Alive, and there's a CD issued version of the Live Alive soundtrack by Yoko Shimomura, same composer as Super Mario RPG, and she's just so prolific, but her work on this really stuck with me. It's such an incredible soundtrack. The game is amazing as well. It's a very unique take on a classic RPG. Definitely great to have Live Alive as it's a double CD, I believe, set. This is the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening original soundtrack on CD. It's a little box set. Got the windfish there. And all the instruments you pick up. This game is about collecting instruments and playing a song, so it's really cool that they issued this because this is actually a double set. They have included the original game's soundtrack for the Game Boy soundtrack on CD, so lots of tunes, lots of tracks. The reimagined, re-released, and rearranged recording of the Link's Awakening Legend of Zelda soundtrack for Switch. And they really did an amazing job with this soundtrack, the rearrangements for a chamber orchestra, essentially. This soundtrack really has a lot more going for it, I think, than the original is great, but I think it really comes to life when you actually have live players playing, French horn, oboe, clarinet, marimba, and they kind of interweave some of the chiptunes into this soundtrack, so it's really a blend, and it's, I don't know, it just turned out really well. So this is a really cool package to have, and I'm very glad that I was able to snag one of these. So those are my CD soundtracks, and you've seen all the vinyl soundtracks. So thanks for watching, and let me know what your favorite video game soundtrack is in the comments. I will see you next video.